Hey, what's up guys, Soapss here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the Sketchbook Chronicles Tag Team official rulebook. So if you guys have any questions with the game before you pick it up, or maybe you already got the game on the Game Crafter and you just want to make sure that you know all the rules, it's a pretty simple game, but we'll still go over it anyway. So first up we have the setup. So to start playing Sketchbook Chronicles Tag Team, you need two 12-card decks. Really, if you guys are going to get the cards, just do whatever you want. If you want to play the way that I intended you guys to play, you can go along with this rule book, but it's all about having fun anyway, so if you want to play with 18 card decks, you can do that as well. So in your booster pack, when you buy the game, you're going to have 14 monsters and 4 spell cards. So in a deck, you only need 2 spell cards and 10 monsters, which means that you can have 4 extra monsters and 2 extra spell cards so that you can mix and match for your deck. And then obviously you're going to need a friend to play against. And if you don't have any friends, then you can play with yourself. I know some people are going to need that option. So to start the game, obviously you need to shuffle you and your opponent's decks. To start the game, it's a randomized game. You don't just select what cards you want from your deck and start playing. So once your deck is shuffled, you're going to both draw 4 cards and select 1 monster card from your hand and place it in your active monster slot. So now let's take a break and let's go over to the layout right here. So just going to zoom out. We got a deck spot, we got a discard pile spot, we got an active monster spot, and then we got a bench. So you're going to pick 1 monster out of your 4 cards in your hand. If you don't have a monster card in your starting hand, just reshuffle your deck and draw a new hand because it's kind of important. So you're going to pick a monster to be your active monster, and then we're going to go over to your turn. So on your turn, you can do these 4 things. So you don't have to do anything. You can literally start your turn and say, okay, I end my turn. You can do whatever you want. So here's what you can do. So you can discard a card to draw. So unlike other games, as it says right here, in Sketchbook Chronicles Tag Team, you don't draw a new card every turn. Instead, there's 2 ways to draw cards: by killing your opponent's monsters or by discarding a card from your hand. So you can discard a card to draw, or you can place 1 monster for the turn to the bench. So in your hand, if you have a monster, you can place 1 monster down for this turn to the bench. So the way that the active monster and the bench works is that when your active monster dies from a battle, it is sent to the discard pile, and then 1 monster from your bench moves up to the active monster slot. So you want to keep your bench filled with monsters, and you can have 3 monsters in the bench. So let's skip over to the win condition over here and go over that. You win the game by your opponent no longer having any cards on their bench or in their active monster slot. So that's why you want to keep these stocked, and when you run out, you will lose. So also on your turn, you can play 1 spell card, not 2, just 1 for the turn. There's only 2 in your deck, so you want to kind of use them when you need them. Don't just willy-nilly place them, or it might cost you the game. So you can place your 1 spell card. When you have a spell card, you just place it down. You don't have to worry about having a special spot on the game board. You just place it down, use its effects, and you can only place it on your turn. You cannot place spell cards on your opponent's turn. And now let's take a break and let's go over to the cards and what they look like. So this is a spell card. So you can tell it's a spell because it has a spell symbol right here in purple. This icon means that it is a spell card. Only spell cards have this symbol. And then also the text in name boxes are filled with pink. So if the card is pink, that means it's a spell. Also, they have a set number, so if you want to know what number the card is in the set, you can look at this number. Obviously, there's a card name and the card ability. So you just place down the card and do what it says. Next up, we have monster cards, which instead of a spell icon, they have HP. We'll go over HP and abilities and attacks later, but they have a card name, they have an ability, and they have attack. And they also have a set number, just like spells. So Finally, on your turn, you can attack once with your active monster and use any of your monster's abilities that are on the field. So now let's go to battling so you can understand that. So on your turn, you can attack your opponent's active monster once with your active monster. You can tell it is the monster's attack by it being under the ability and containing a damage value. So if we go back to the monster card image, you can see that Incisors is the ability because it does 10 damage and it's also below the Spiky Spikes ability. When you attack, the damage from the attack is subtracted from the health of your opponent's active monster's HP. And when the monster's HP reaches 0, it is killed and sent to the discard pile. So if we go back to Double Jaw over here, Incisors does 10 damage. So let's pretend your opponent had another Double Jaw. 10 damage would be subtracted from the 70, which would make it 60. And then 6 more attacks, because it only does 10 damage, that would mean 60 more damage. And that would mean that Double Jaw would be at 0 health, sending it to the discard pile. And then, just like how we discussed before, you would end up drawing a card from your deck to your hand because you killed your opponent's active monster. So now let's just quickly go over a monster's abilities just to clear up any confusion. Abilities are pretty self-explanatory. You just read whatever it does and it usually explains the parameters for the ability. So over here we have Spiky Spikes. Whenever a monster attacks this card, it takes 20 damage. So you know right off the bat that it's probably going to go into effect on your opponent's turn when their active monster attacks your Double Jaw. So that's pretty much everything you need to know to play Sketchbook Chronicles Tag Team. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I read all of my comments and I will try to reply to everyone that has a valid question. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to grab yourself some Sketchbook Chronicles Tag Team Booster Packs. I'll see you guys in another video.